we deal with change? But the world changes. Globalism, competition from startups. They get too big and bloated. They kind of lose their mission. To make a decision, you have to go to 18 committees and get approval from everybody. And by the time you make it a product or a service into the public's hand, it's already too late. So they have lost their mojo. Their turnover, flat. They have huge organizations with hundreds of thousands of workers. Do you just continue to cut? Put people out of work? Where are your new ideas coming from? How are you going to connect with people with your brand if those brands don't mean anything anymore? So these were all giant multi-billion-dollar companies that had lost their way. We need to do something to spark the magic again. How are we going to do it? Well, a classic way in America, which usually does things over the top, a little bit in excess on every level, the classic way to do that was to buy another company. So you see a little startup over here, that's a very cool technology, or that product is amazing. It would be better for us, instead of producing it ourselves, to just grab that thing, acquire it. The trouble with acquisition is that they don't work. Why they don't work is the subject of many PhD dissertations, but among the top reasons are incompatibility, different sets of goals, different ways of doing things. And it is the rare exception that a company that is brought into another company will succeed. You know, there's something that was called synergy. It's the idea that it's more efficient if we bring in something, if we acquire it. We can bring our costs down, we can improve quality, we can reconnect with customers. Everything is going to be glorious. Eden, the second coming, right? It's here. Well, no, in the real world, synergy doesn't matter anymore, mostly. So how are they going to get some magic back? Well, we found that a lot of these companies, instead of buying startups that were threatening to disrupt their markets and take business away from them, take clients away from them. Instead of buying these companies and expecting synergy, what they would do is partner with them. And in these partnerships, they might be 3 months, they might be 12 months, they might be 3 years. There is some contract and expectations about, let's get a product out of this, or let's learn a technology out of this, or some goal where the startup gets something out of it and the parent, the big giant company, gets something out of it. And we found in talking to maybe 200 legacy companies and startups that there were certain patterns of behavior of things that succeeded and things that failed. You think you get a giant and a midget together, and the giant calls all the shots, right? We have the money, we have the power, we have the prestige, we have the name, and who the hell are you, right? You've only been in existence 3 years, so what? You know, you have an interesting whatever, but we've been in business 120 years, you know. Maybe you can help us do this little thing. That's all wrong. If the giant company goes into a situation like that, expecting to call all the shots, the partnership will fail. Another thing that we found is that very often these giants went in with a particular purpose. They wanted to increase sales. They wanted a better digital experience. They wanted, way down at the bottom, maybe to figure out how they could be quicker decision makers, how they could get products to market a little faster, how they could reconnect with customers. What we found was that the most interesting and powerful conclusion, the most valuable thing they got out of these little startups was not anything tangible like that, but it was to bring the experience of working with a small, dynamic startup into the company. Not bringing the company in, but bringing that experience in, a sense of renewed purpose, some energy, some creativity, some innovation, some speed to market with an idea. And it was sparking change within the organization. So it was a catalyst. You all have studied a little chemistry? You know what a catalyst is, right? A little thing that sets off a big reaction. That was the point of these partnerships that succeeded. You're a big company. You know you have to do something to change. You've heard about these partnerships that some of your competitors are in, and you wonder, what's my first step? What am I going to do? I think the first question they have to ask is why? Why are we doing this? And this has to do with some very hard questions that you as a corporation ask yourself. What business are we in? Why are we in it? Why is it not working anymore? What do we want to get out of a partnership? Who can help us? Has any of you heard of the so-called lean principles of a startup? Yeah, how many people know what that is? Okay, for the rest of you, very quickly, you know, lean means obviously doing things on the cheap and doing them really fast and coming up with a minimally viable product. So do it fast, do it dirty, do it cheap, fail, but move on and learn from it. Okay, you got all this money you can invest in new products and services. Don't be Don't invest it in these big, monstrous, elephant-sized projects, okay? Instead, run your business. Run this $150 billion a year company as though you were a venture capitalist on the cheap. Make a lot of little, small investments. $500,000 here, $1 million there, and have these things work out quickly, fail quickly, and embrace those lessons. Make sure you understand why it failed and keep on making these, because one or two of these is bound to hit and they're going to be big. And unless you take multiple chances, you're not going to, the odds are you are never going to get another big blockbuster hit. And if you make all these bets in small amounts, you learn to embrace risk instead of run away from it. Again, it's the fear factor of change. Little parenthesis here. I've had to change career at least 3 times. I was in academics. I taught English literature at the college level, and then I bailed. It was a very bad time to get a job. And I went into business journalism knowing nothing about journalism and much less about business. Okay, so I took a chance there. And I was at Fortune magazine and a number of other national publications. I was an editor at Newsweek. I was at Forbes for 17 years, managing editor. And then 3 years ago, I quit. So now I work for myself. I work for a licensee of Forbes. I'm also a consultant to clients out west. So I know what it is really to kind of take chances and to fail, and it's scary. And going from a guaranteed paycheck, right, every month or every 2 weeks, you get that check, to, am I going to get paid? How much am I going to get paid? It's a little disconcerting, okay?